Hello, my name is Joseph. I want to welcome you to today's special program from Assyria TV. And before getting started, you can reach Assyria TV on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, and also assyriatv.org, which almost 6,000 videos available for reviewing. Today, November 6th, 2025, is 50th anniversary of murder of Eshai Shimun, patriarch of the Church of the East. At that time, it wasn't called Assyrian Church of the East. And today's program is dedicated to that. I don't know how many of you know about Eshai Shimun, who he was, what he had done. Up until 10 years ago, I did not have much information about the late patriarch, but back then, 10 years ago, I hosted a special 40 years anniversary on AMB Assyrian National Broadcasting. And as you can see in the photo, we have Sam Darmo and Mona K. Oshana. Uh, you can see this if you're interested. It's on YouTube. It's a AMB Marisha Shuman 40th memorial. And during that 10 years ago, Sam Darmo gave me some information because I was hosting, I was sharing some information. Sam Darmo did a lot of the political aspect, historical aspect of his life. And Mona K, she had interviewed the widow of His Holiness Imama Marshumon, and she talked about what happened that night. That the program is in Eastern dialect, just to make sure I communicate that it's not in English. But 10 years ago, I learned so much. As I said, Sam Darmo provided me with a lot of letters, communications that Marisha Schumann had done during the last pretty much 40 years of his patriarchy. And I learned so much. And today's program is a little different. If you want all this information, you can go to YouTube, search, and see this special that we had. It's about 4 or 5 hours, and there are different parts of it, but there's so much information shared during that program. So that's what I wanted to share with you about 10 years ago. Learned so much. So today it's 50th anniversary. And what I will be reading from is directly from Mordechai Shumun Memorial Foundation website. It's morishayshumun.com. I believe that's the uh, designation, but you can find it. And with that, I will be reading exactly what is written about His Holiness, and there are photos that are in that archives. And let's just get started. Are we ready? His Holiness Mar Ishe Shumun 23rd was the Catholicos Patriarch of the Church of the East, the supreme head of the Church and its universal pastor, and the 119th Patriarch. The official name of the Church of the East is the Holy Apostolic and Catholic Church of the East. It was founded by the apostles Saint Peter, Saint Thomas, Saint Thaddeus, Saint Bartholomew, and Saint Mary of the 70. For clarity, please note that the Church of the East is called different names by various historians. Some of the popular appellations are Assyrian Church, Nestorian Church, Chaldean Syriac Church, etc. His Holiness was born on the 26th of February 1908 in Ochanes, the mountainous region located in southern Turkey. His Holiness was raised with great care while received the necessary theological and liturgical training by the late Archdeacon of the Patriarch, the Very Reverend Toma of Ashita, and by the Metropolitan of Rostaka, His Grace Mar Yosef Hnanishu, who was also his uncle, maternal. At the age of 12, due to the geopolitical upheavals at the time, His Holiness was ordained as Patriarch in 1920, succeeding his uncle, Mar Paulus Shimun the 22nd. In recognition of his keen intelligence and capability, it was deemed critical to further his education and training, so the Patriarch was sent to St. Augustine's College, Canterbury, England. After completing this phase of his preparatory schooling, he was accepted at Westcott House, Cambridge University, where he specialized in history and statecraft. His formal schooling under the auspices of academia ended in 1927, when his nation and church required his presence and leadership most. However, his informal education continued to evolve over the following 2 decades, in which the harder school of adversity had magnified and deepened his wisdom and matured his personality. Experience is always a great teacher, and what a life of rich and varied experience His Holiness spent. Simply isolating 2 mere decades from 1927 to 1947, in which he worked tirelessly fighting for his Assyrian people, would for some be their failing. His Holiness Eshai Shimun emerged as a profound and significant religious leader. Always on the move in Iraq, in Cyprus, in England, in Switzerland, and in the United States, and often in danger of life during the days of the disturbances in Iraq, he met with foreign diplomats and heads of states. He persisted and created a world presence for the Assyrians by his representations to the League of Nations and later his appeals to the United Nations. All the while, he was contacting world leaders and discussing with them the Assyrian questions with his indefatigable energy and unfailing commitment. His Holiness taught persistence. In fact, his life centered only around his duty to save his hapless Assyrians and his beloved Church of the East from utter destruction and disintegration. Prior to Marisha Shuman's intervention, Assyrians living among their Islamic neighbors shared a tenacious relationship that was firmly rooted in mistrust by both sides. Therefore, in 1948, His Holiness made a revolutionary announcement of a new policy for the Assyrian people and the Church of the East. Through direct contact to embassy representatives of the Middle Eastern countries in Washington and at the United Nations headquarters, he broke down the walls of suspicion and misunderstanding. This new policy decreed Assyrians and members of the Church of the East all over the world to remain as loyal and faithful citizens of the countries in which they lived, something that had never been done before in our history. The result was electric. There were amiable responses from Syria, Lebanon, and Iran, and cordial relations were established with these governments. From his arrival in the United States in 1940, His Holiness had been active in establishing parishes, building churches, editing and translating literature from Aramaic into English for the use of the church here in the United States and other countries. By doing so, he further promulgated the mission of the founding apostles and sought to be an inclusive educator for this flock so that all could learn the ancient liturgy in a consistent way. During this same period, the patriarch had consecrated several bishops, ordained many priests and deacons, and established the first English speaking Assyrian parish in Seattle, Washington. All this work resulted in a substantive presence for the Church of the East throughout the United States. However, this work did not simply end here. Perhaps the most important of His Holiness' activities had been the apostolic pastoral visits which he had paid to the churches in India and the Middle East. Most historic and significant were his trips to Iraq in 1970 and 71 at the request of the Iraqi government. This unprecedented act sent waves of hope throughout the Assyrian community living in Iraq, for it had been in 1933 that the patriarch and his family had been exiled. For 37 long years, the patriarch was forbidden a pastoral visit in which he was prohibited from ministering to his considerable flock in Iraq. These trips had resulted in the strengthening of the spirit of the clergy and those faithful Assyrians. Furthermore, the building of schools, churches, and establishment of a seminary in Tehran, Iran, occurred due to his direction and guardianship. His Holiness was a prolific scholar, excuse me, an exemplary writer, and a charismatic speaker. As early as 1926, at the age of 18, the Patriarch attended Nicene Council commemoration held at Westminster Abbey, London. The Church and State Conference held in Oxford and the Faith and Order Conference held in Edinburgh were both attended by His Holiness in 1937. The distinguished Athenaeum Club of London had bestowed upon His Holiness by conferring an honorary membership. He was also a member of the American Historical Society and other organizations, as well as being a representative to the World Council of Churches and being a notable among the chronicles of Who's Who. Numerous appeals and publications concerning the Assyrian question, written by the Patriarch and presented to the British government and various international bodies, highlight him as a writer of distinction. Many Syriac books have been translated into English by His Holiness, Eshai Shimun. Portions of the Aramaic liturgy, Book of Hymns and Praises, Book of Marganita, a standard theological work of the Church of the East, and many others. His Holiness was a world-renowned subject matter expert in ecclesiastical history and an authority on the history of Christianity in the Middle East and Far East. Eshai Shimun was fluent and literate in both the Aramaic and modern Syriac languages. In 1940, Time magazine wrote of His Holiness, Cambridge-educated Shimun also speaks perfect English. His scholarly discourses on church history at international ecclesiastical conferences at various universities attracted worldwide attention. The succession of the patriarch of Shimun's family was a custom that became institutionalized for over 658 years, of which Eshai Shimun, Catholicus Patriarch the 23rd, was the last. For Shimun, his term as Patriarch was mired with tremendous hardship, and the tenure of his indefatigable work on behalf of the Church of the East and the Assyrian nation that finally took its toll on him. Continuing the tradition of apostolic succession was impossible, for there were no more Shimun nephews to succeed him. His Holiness, ever mindful of his flock, took the opportunity to take the growth and evolution of the glorious Church of the East to the next level, had developed and proposed a plan for succession that was an electoral process which had been accepted. After 53 years of focused dedication, the patriarch retired from active responsibilities. In 1973, His Holiness announced his resignation from the patriarchal responsibilities and married. Today, aside from his sisters and sister-in-laws, nieces, nephews, he is survived by two children. This is some old information here. I don't know how many of his sisters and sister-in-laws are alive. Anyway, it might not have been known broadly at the time, but the patriarch had agreed to return to the church to organize its affairs at the request of the bishops, including the Metropolitan Mor Yosef Khnanishu. Sadly, his return was not to be realized. A clandestine plot was concocted to assassinate His Holiness Marishe Shimun the 23rd, Catholicos Patriarch, and carried out on November 6, 1975. An assassin gunned him down at the door of his home in San Jose, California. He was 67 years old. Marishe Shimun was an innovative leader of the church and the Assyrian people, well schooled in not only the ecclesiastical aspects of his vocation and learned in ways of geopolitical issues, always attuned to the needs of his flock and the nation. He mindfully navigated the tenuous geopolitical landscape with uncompromising ethics, integrity, and superior leadership, which were the hallmarks of his character. His ingrained spirituality and political sophistication set him apart as a true leader of distinction. Never has an Assyrian leader demonstrated such sophistication and agility in managing both the secular and temporal affairs bespoke of his truly magnificent stewardship of the Assyrian people and the Church of the East. I just read to you about Marishe Shimun history as it is written, his biography as it is written in the web page. There is so much more to what happened to him. As I read, as you heard me saying it, he was gone down here in San Jose. And from where I live, it's like 5 minutes walk, so close to where I am right now, 50 years ago. So, as I mentioned 10 years ago, when I learned more about His Holiness, what he had done, and we did that program, you learn about something that you don't see in anybody else in our nation. As far as I know, maybe there are people that are at that level, but Marishe Shimun was head and shoulder above anybody else. Knowledge, influence, world. I mean, everybody, world leaders, they knew who he was. So you're talking about somebody at the level that I don't think any of our people have achieved past 50 years or anything even before that. So when I was preparing for today's program, just wanted to share what his biography is on the webpage. And as I said, if you want to get to know more about this, you can watch that video from 10 years ago. There's so much information in there. But that's not the part I want to touch or talk about today, 50-year anniversary of his assassination. When I was preparing the program, there was, you know how the mentality goes from, okay, this is what happened 50 years, you start feeling bad, you start feeling sad, you start feeling mad sad, bad, mad. And the thinking is like, okay, where are we now? What's going on? I was like, during that preparation time, and my wife Stella, she was like asking me, what's going on? Why you're so upset? And she made a comment and reminded me of Book of Proverbs, uh, chapter 31. It talks about the wife of noble character. It says, a wife of noble character who can find? She's worth far more than rubies. Why am I mentioning that? Well, she speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She said, we will show you a video at the end of the program, and we were watching it together, and Assyria TV did the editing and all the good stuff. And she mentioned it's very easy for us to talk the negative parts of our history. No leadership now, no recognition the way that we want. Where are we going? Are people suffering in the Middle East and all these negative things that are happening to us? And she said, just build on what is positive, what is good, even though we don't have anybody like Marisha Schumann. So it changed the direction from, you know, thinking bad, sad, mad, even to the happy part. How of looking at the glass half full. What do we have right now? See, this program in the beginning, Ashur, main purpose is preserving identity as much as we can, as many as people out there non-Ashuri to know who we are. So based on that, uh, I just picked on some of the people that we have in our nation. Now, some of them maybe have passed, but they have made contributions. See, in our language, we have a word called sada, which means martyr or witness. However, sada is not necessarily the one that has been killed for the nation. Sada could be a witness that is eyewitnessing now to our people and the rest of the world who we are. Like Assyria TV is a witness. Sada, this program that you're seeing, we are here, the Ashuri people, talking about Marisha Shuman, even though he was murdered 50 years ago. We are the living witnesses. The living witness is the one that's going to take us home. Learning about the ones that have gone before us, especially being murdered or massacred, a lot of our people. So I was thinking, let's see the activities, some of the people that we have, the good things that are happening. So, can we start with the list? I mean, I don't know how we're going to start, but whatever you put, I'm just going to talk about for a few seconds, on a 50th anniversary of a murder. We just looking at what are the positive things that we have in our life. Individuals, maybe not at the level of Marisha Shumun, but maybe lower level, but a lot more of us. So this photo is my buddy, Walter Marodin Ibrahimzadeh. He's the founder of Waw Alab. Uh, that was fast. Yosef Bet Yosef, our poet, uh, dedicated life. Another poet, this guy, I don't know how many of you know the photo. This is Givargiz Agassi. He's the one that wrote all these lyrics for even Evan Agassi, all the songs, beautiful songs that you have. He's the one with the lyrics behind it. Nicholas Algilo, great linguistic, one of our pride brothers that just communicates with different people at different level about our heritage, our background. Ninus Rirari, another poet, another writer, these are advocates that we have in our nation, just keeping our language alive. What else? Hannibal Joseph. I was in his concert in LA, preserving music. Gilgamesh, works of Rabbi William Daniel, Misha, Shura Alexander, the Khofri brothers. This is Mr. Ninos Tabit. He is a sculptor. He does digital. He preserves all the work that was destroyed by ISIS. We have so many. Benil Dariush. Benil, you see this photo, Benil calling out Musk after he won. He said, "Hey, Elon, where's my Tesla?" And I don't know how much you know about Benil, but he's the one that always has our flag. This is the concept I was telling you. Hannibal has all these instruments, the way that he arranged the songs from all these great music writers that we have. Then we have this self-proclaimed William Crazy Horse of Assyria. He's like older than me. He's like 60 something years old. He goes to these marathons and he carries our flag. They say, who is this guy? This one, Savina Dawood, another advocate for our nation. They have the Etuti Institute in, I'm not sure in what city in Iraq, but activist, working for our people. Nineveh Academic Chair. This is Dr. Yildiz, that every year, the past 4 years, they have these international gathering talking about us, preserving our language, our history. Another photo of Givargiz Agassi, the poet. He has many poems besides writing lyrics for the songs for his brother. He's a great poet, still alive with us. I believe he lives in Turlak. Another photo, this Father G. I love what they did for Maradin. They had a day to honor him, honor his hard work for the past, I don't know, 30, 40 years. I don't know how old Maradin is, 90, 100, 200, I don't know. He's great. These are Assyrian riders. These riders ride bikes in all countries. This photo, my buddies are here. Pierre Nokli, great drummer. There are a couple other guys, my cousin Alex. This is another photo with Malfono Yildiz in Salamanca. This is this year, the gathering. They're showing our customs, our history, our culture. These are the positive things. This guy, PBD, Patrick Bet David, he's millionaire, he's a businessman. See what is next to him, the flag of Assyria, Assyria flag. This guy is very well known in the world. He talks to everybody. This tall guy standing there, Yaakov Maoz, he's just a Jewish guy. He wrote a book about Jerusalem and Nineveh. What does the Jew wants to do with us? These are like advocates for us. These are the positive that are happening about our name. And this is a memorial that Yaakov was talking about. He just a memorial to who we are, what has happened to us. And he puts it in the book Jerusalem and Nineveh. This is a photo from a group. It's called the Gishro. This is one of the most important, not maybe the most, but it's a very important project that gets our young people to Atra, especially during the New Year celebration. This is Berlin. This crazy horse is running, thousands of people watching this guy carrying this flag. Whose flag is it? It says Ashur, Assyria. Who are Assyrians? When William talks to them, tells them about us. People know about us, the identity. This is the logo of the Assyrian riders that I was telling you. I don't know if they started in Sweden or United States, but they're all over. They help people, they raise money, they help children, so many things. Another photo from, you see in the back, it says the balloons, Gabbara. This is what Maradin always talks about. Every time I call him, it says, hello, Maradin, how you doing? It says, Dakhid Gabbara, Dakhid Gabbara. It's just, that's how he talks. Another photo. Are we done with the photos? We're recycling now, or because there were some other ones. Do you have the Gishru logo? Etuti logo? Yeah. So going back to Gishru, this is the project that I believe the more they trying to expand how many people they can take with them every New Year's to our homeland. But get involved, find out more about this. So we come in to the end of the program. Just wanted to remember 50 years ago what happened. A great, not just the patriarch because he was of the Church of the East, but this gentleman, he dedicated his life. His uncle, yeah, Etuti, that's the one I was talking about. Sabina Dawood, they established it in Atra. So what happened to this young man when he became patriarch? His uncle was assassinated. His other uncle was killed. His father almost died by Simcoe when they killed Mar Ben Yemen. So that life that he lived as a patriarch, as whatever, as I read about his life, we need to remember, but at the same time, remembering what we have, the witnesses, the true witnesses that live right now. There are so many positive things. Just building on that, and I just want to thank Stella for reminding me because sometimes we forget. And when we come to the end of the program, we prepared you a video of a combination of our witnesses, some that have given their life and some that have given their knowledge, their expertise, and their genius, preserve our language, preserve our heritage, preserve our culture through music, writing, and some sports people, whatever it takes. So, as I always say, Chaya Ashur, Ahaya Ashur Chaya, and we will leave you with this beautiful music from Suran, and we'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye. Chaya Ashur.